this first box I am so excited about because we are delving into batiks. Now, this is something personally I have never really gotten into that much, to be honest. It's always been something that I like from afar. For some reason, I just haven't wrapped myself around them. However, I think I could be swayed a little bit because I've been looking at these gorgeous quilts of yours that you've brought today, and they are stunning. And I know many of our friends out there do love batiks and are probably really excited to learn more about them. And so I hope that during our conversation, we can learn more about the process, how Riley Blake got started with batiks, and maybe a little bit more about how are batiks made, because it is quite fascinating.
Yes. I've always admired batiks, but again, I haven't been a sewer in batiks at all.
Right.
And I've been won over. You know, we've always admired them. And when we decided to get into batiks, we wanted to get into batiks in a big way. And we have.
Yes, you have. Yes.
And I have just fallen in love with how they are to handle, the hand on them, how to sew with them. And we just really delved into the process, made sure it was done right before we launched our Riley Blake Designs batiks. So we can talk a little bit about our batiks. They are made in Indonesia. Okay. They're made with the highest quality base cloth on the market. Okay. And the batik process is really rigorous. So you actually have to have a kind of a poplin it's a higher quality than regular cottons. Okay. It's a tighter weave because of the process of batik making.
Is that why they're so easy and fun actually to cut and sew with?
Yes, there's a tighter weave, and with the wax, we'll take you through the design process and how they're made. The fraying is minimal on there because of the process of how they're made. Yeah. And they're just beautifully to sew with. You'll notice I changed my clothes.
I love it. Yes.
I learned to sew making clothing.
Oh my goodness.
Every once in a while there's fabric that I'm like, oh, I've got to make a dress out of it. Now this one
one of those, right?
is one of those, one of our batik designs that I'm like, I have got to make a dress out of it.
It's beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it.
So the batiks are, they're all handcrafted, well designed, and there's movement in the fabrics. They're not, and they're just, there's artistry made in the fabric. So let's take you through the process of how batiks are made. Now you are holding what's called is a chop, and a chop is spelled TJAPS in Indonesia, and that's what this chop is. Wow, this is how they are printed. So
this is heavy.
Yeah, it's made out of copper. And it's bendable. It's pliable, and artisans make this. So we send them a design, and then they create it. Each one of these takes a couple weeks to make out of copper. So they take our digital design and they make this. And isn't it a beautiful piece of art?
It really is. Oh my goodness.
So I have one on my desk at home, and it's just in my design office, and it is a handcrafted item. So the artists in Indonesia, that's what they study all their lives, is to make fabric. Indonesian fabric.
So they're taking your design, they're creating it with metal, they're bending it, and so forth. What happens after this is made?
So let's talk. So we talked about the base cloth. So you can feel this. You can tell it's like a very high quality.
Definitely.
It's made in Indonesia. Again, it's the highest, best, finest fabric we could find in that area of the world.
And the tightest weave. Okay.
And then they dye it. So this is a pretty funky design. Not all our designs some of them are different. So this is a rainbow of colors. And this is hand dyed. Okay. So this is like scrunched. They add colors. That's also where the artistry comes in. Yeah. These designers know how colors work together, and they apprentice for years. They work at it for years, and then they know kind of how it's coming. But again, the dyes kind of take on their own life when they touch, and you get these interesting
it's very
colors.
Unique, right? I mean, there's just...
Yes.
To replicate it is very
when
difficult.
you learn how batiks are made, you have a whole new appreciation for this quality fabrics. And again, these are made in Indonesia, which they need that area of the world. We use dyes that are, they're good for the environment. They don't harm the environment. And then they also need that sun. So I'll take you through the process.
Okay.
So, then you're going to...
Okay, so they're doing the dice,
and now
right?
this is where you bring in the chop design. The chop design is put in wax. So you'll feel this. There's wax on here.
Oh.
They dip it in wax and then they stamp it. So they're so good at stamping it in order. I mean, they do it lightning fast. They stamp this wax
Fascinating. Okay, so obviously this is not what we're receiving.
No.
Okay,
so the next thing they do is they take off the colors. So they wash out the colors that were in this base cloth, and what's left is what is under the wax.
Wow.
So you see the design.
Yeah.
That is what is left underneath the wax. And all the other colors are washed away.
Oh my goodness.
So what you thought was, what is that going to look like?
So are you saying this is the same as what that was?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So that's washed out.
Okay.
And then they bring it back and then they add color to that base fabric.
Okay.
They add color to it. And then they wash off the wax. Because can you feel the wax?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And you're left
You wouldn't
with,
want that in your clothes.
You're left with the base cloth color.
That is amazing.
And then you've got the ground color. And that's your finished batik.
No way. Wow, there's a lot of steps to this process.
And then it's put out in the sun to set, and it's got to be, and there's a lot of washing and manipulating the fabric. That's why it has to be a super high quality poplin fabric.
Oh, absolutely. Wow.
So it's excellent for clothing, and it's excellent for quilting.
Do you know, I never really realized all of those steps that went into making the one piece.
They are made in smaller batches. It's like a fine chocolate, right?
Right.
A fine wine. It's made in smaller batches because, the cloth is only so big. It's laid out in the sun. And, it's really an artisan. We've partnered with artisans in Indonesia, and they're good at that. We are good at design, and then we put it into a quilt, and then you're gonna enjoy seeing these quilts I've got with me.
Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. Okay, let's take a look.
So that is the batik making process. That's a chop. So you learned a little something new today.
Do you pronounce it chop?
Chop, like CHOP, but it's spelled TJAPS. Chops. Those are called chops.
Okay. Wow.
So,
that's incredible.
So I'm going to show you a classic batik quilt. This is what we always kind of picture, and Judel and Judy Niemeyer do it best.
Definitely.
And you look at it and go, how can I ever make that? But they break it down and they teach you. They have lots of classes. Right. But this is a classic batik quilt.
Okay.
And it's pretty amazing.
Yes. Oh, wow. That is gorgeous.
And they do it by, paper piecing this together. And they take you through all the. But isn't that beautiful? But look at this print right here. So this is our first run of Riley Blake Designs batiks, and we've got everything. So we've got hand dyes. So we have our basic prints. They're not really a batik, but they're. Our brand is called Expressions by Riley Blake. That's the brand of our batiks. And under that, we have chop prints, which we talked about, which is a classic batik. Then we have elementals, which is kind of a blender print. I'll show you like an elemental. This is an elemental. So they still do the chop, but it's more of a blender print. Yeah. And then we have
more of a tone on tone?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it still uses the chop. And then we have our batik hand dyes, which don't use any of the chop, and they're scrunched up fabric. I don't know if there's a hand dye in here because I think they're all, but those are under the brand of Riley Blake Expression Batiks are here. So you can see we've got.
Now, what were you going to say about this print?
I'm saying, look how crazy. Would you ever? When I first saw that, I'm like, that is the ugliest print I've ever seen. Who would ever use it?
Right.
And then Judy
but look at
and
this.
Judel Niemeyer show you how to use it.
That's amazing.
That's the hero print in this whole thing. It pulls everything together. It's got the greens. It's got the blues, the yellows, the reds.
Definitely.
And it just pulls
It
this
is
quilt
definitely
together.
that focal print that you want to draw everything
Here's
else
the hand
on.
dyes. You wouldn't believe that's a hand dye. That's not a
The
solid
black?
fabric.
Oh.
That's a hand dye. There's very subtle prints, but there's the
I
hand dye.
love that. Yes. Wow, that is so beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful? So that's
really
a brand
is.
new pattern.
Okay, question on, if someone were to, purchase the fabrics and get ready to prepare it for the quilt, is this something that needs to be washed beforehand?
I don't wash
Okay.
them because they've been washed plenty of times.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. You know what? I did wash it for this dress. Anytime I make me a clothing garment,
sure,
I always wash it.
Okay.
Because I want it to
wondered if
fit
there would
just
be bleed
but,
or anything.
But reds always tend to bleed, and so do blacks. No
Right.
matter if they're a batik or a regular.
Yeah. So maybe it is a good idea to,
So if you
it's
had a
something
bright
that's gonna be
color, you
washed.
could.
Okay.
Yeah, you could.
Okay, good to know.
But I tend to never, even if it's red, I don't generally do it. But you could. But reds, you got to be careful, right? That's why you wash things with your red catchers.
Yeah. Can we talk about that border? Holy cow, that's beautiful.
Don't they do an amazing job?
They really do.
They sew them in
And
strips
all of
and then
those
they cut them out.
together.
And they've got the piping. I mean, let's just
yeah.
talk about how they put their quilts together.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so
this is a classic batik quilt. They're Judy and Judelle Niemeyer are known for their use of batiks, but I want to show you a use of batiks and something that you would expect from Riley Blake Designs.
okay,
this is what we launched.
This is what's interesting to me is because I thought Riley Blake just recently brought on batiks. Why did you decide to do that?
We've always admired batiks and we wanted to offer them, but we also felt like we had our own spin of batiks.
And this would be one of those ways, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this quilt is, we just showed it at Quilt Market, and it's called, it's called Wildflower Seeds. It's designed by Kelly Fannin. Kelly Fannin, does lots of quilt patterns with Riley Blake.
Yes.
And it takes the spin, the fun of using batik in a Riley Blake way.
In a Riley Blake way, absolutely.
With white, we always do lots of white.
Right.
But this is going to be a sew along that's going to start in April, and we're going to show you how to make each of the blocks, and you have to repeat it 4 times, and we're going to do that for 6 months together.
Nice.
It's going to be a fun sew-along. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, it
Look
really is.
Look at the colors.
I love it. I love it. Kelly did a beautiful job.
There's another picture of the hand dye. Do you see the movement in that?
Definitely, yes.
So we got the
hand
hand
dyes. Has a little bit
dyes.
more of a modeled look to it, right?
Yeah. There's just beautiful. And this is a hand dye too. It's just so subtle. It looks like a solid, but you can see that.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's very, very subtle. And the black in there too. So we got elementals. These are definitely chops. And then we've got our hand dyes in there.
Wow. Yeah, that is
beautiful?
beautiful. So fun.
So then I'm going to show you. Oh, this is another classic. This is a free pattern on our website.
Okay.
And this also these are hand dyes
Yep.
and that is called Express Yourself. That's a free pattern.
Okay.
So if you want to just start sewing, that's a free pattern.
And maybe, it gets you into batiks a little bit, trying it out, especially for those who haven't done it before. Actually, sewing with them is a dream.
It really is a dream. They have just the tiniest amount of wax residue, so they fray minimally.
Yes.
And the tighter weave and just the hand is really, truly beautiful.
That is so pretty. And the black, wow, that just makes everything else pop.
That's a hand dye too. So that's a fun
I love
pattern.
that.
And then, if you just really love the look of blues.
Yes,
and this
I
looks
do.
like water and Caribbean and all those things we don't have in the winter. But again, you can see that hand dye in there, and then it's got the chops.
Well, talk about movement on this. I mean, it almost feels like water in the Caribbean. That is so beautiful.
So we've worked with a lot of pattern designers. I don't know. I'll give a shout out to this pattern designer. Let's see if it's on there.
Right here. Colors of the Wind is what it's called. Designed, pieced, and quilted by Raha Salama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's one of we love to work with her.
Wow.
So beautiful, right?
Oh, it's stunning.
And our last quilt is Exploding Hearts. Now, this has been so popular.
It has. Yes, it has. I've seen it done so many different ways. It's a really fun one.
So if you like these quilts, you are going to love what's going to come in the box.
Yes, definitely.
Let's see, is it
upside down? Yep. Let's turn it around this way. There we go.
So look at this.
Oh, I love it.
Again, so fun. Exploding hearts. You can see the heart in the middle.
Yes.
The color is just vibrant.
Oh, it is.
Beautiful.
It is. And then you use the same hand-dyed black in the background. Love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is stunning.
This was designed by Slice of Pie Quilts.
Yes. Oh, I love her. She's so fun.
She does great patterns.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, I love this.
So you ready? Ready to sew with Batiks?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I think you have convinced me. I am going to, give my hand at it. Yeah. I definitely will. I've sewn a little, thing here and there with a batik, and that's why I know how good it feels to sew with it because you don't have a lot of stretch.
No, you don't.
Right?
No.
And so it's very, very easy to cut, easy to piece with, but I've never taken the leap of doing a larger project. So I'm ready. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Well, we've got so many fun things coming your way. And now you've got a box featuring Batiks. So all the people that follow you, it's time for them to get on board with Batiks too.
Definitely. So definitely. Thanks so much, Cindy.
Well, I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so glad to share the excitement of Batiks.
Well, it's been interesting. The process is just incredible to really think about, and to really think about the people who are behind the scenes making it.
Again, ours are ethically sourced in the places where Batiks were born, and you're going to get an authentic product that you're going to like to use.
I love it. Thanks so much.